इनमें तेज ना कर रही ना देखिए दिक्कत होती है ना सारे पेपर हो गए।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes.
Sure. Jai. Jnanasminandasya jnananjana shalakya chakshurunadam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishishunivadi Bhashyata Deshdadine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here we are, second and final session of third canto. Oh, yeah, with this, you are finishing third canto. So the module 1 of Bhakti Vaibhava should come to a close with today's lesson. Okay. Isn't like sounding honey to the ears? With today's lesson, third canto of module 1 of Bhakti Vaibhava comes to a close. Okay. Come again, Prabhuji. Rukmani, Priyama. Okay, it's maybe any other sound. Anyway, so just as yesterday, we discussed like the effects of, basically it was summarizing what the teachings of Kapil Dev yesterday. Today, we will be summarizing the activities of Kapil Dev himself. Okay, and that will be summarized by her mother Devahuti. So by doing that, we will also summarize the activities of Devahuti. We will see a strange kind of strange circumstances, I would say, under which she executed a devotional service. Completely like contradictory to what generally we understand, that how bhakti should be, under what circumstances bhakti should be performed, which actually demolishes the idea that bhakti can be performed only under certain conditions. She demolished by Kapil, like Devavuti's example is an example which shows that how bhakti can be performed surrounded fully by Aishwarya. So we will see that. So in the beginning, let's start with okay. Let us again read the chapter summary. Okay, and then from there we will move ahead, and we will have a exercise early on in the class. Okay, that's what lesson plan says. Okay, who wants to read this first 12 verses of Adhyaya Prasad? It is the activities of Lord Kapil. Maybe we can move ahead from yesterday's list, and somebody else might go on. Every day it starts with A, it never reaches Z. Go ahead, volunteers.
May I? Prabhuji?
Try, should I
Yeah,
try?
yeah, yes, Lakshmi Mataji. Yes.
3.33 Adhyaya Katha Sar, verses 1 to 12. Dehuti expresses astonishment about the Lord taking birth in her womb. Dehuti glorifies the holy name of the Lord. The chanters of the holy name have already performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and sacrifices. Dehuti summarizes that Lord Kapila is Lord Vishnu. Lord Kapila says that if you traverse this path of self-realization perfectly, surely you shall be freed from fearful material contamination and shall ultimately reach me. Lord Kapila leaves home after instructing his mother.
Okay, so that's the section we are going to discuss when devotee is actually under Yog Maya. That's why she is wondering, expressing astonishment, how like Lord can take birth from his womb. Okay, so that's like that. But it is covered with Aishwarya. That's why like she knows that is the Lord. Okay. And then we will discuss about chanting of the holy name. This is one of the preaching application, personal application also. That's we will discuss as part of the whole class discussion. And then certainly Kapil, before Lord Kapil leaves, he assures her mother that if you continue to follow what I have taught you, you will ultimately reach me. You will reach Kapil in Kapila Vaikuntha. Okay. In the Siddha something, Ashram, something the name is. And yeah, here it is written. Sid it's called what? Siddhapada. Siddhapada, you can see here. So she will reach there. And now then Lord Kapil leaves the home. Why Lord Kapil has to leave the home? Like, I mean, we understand Kardam Muni left the home to practice like sannyas or vanaprastha sannyas. Why does Kapil have to leave the home? Okay, let's get into that and we will see how if you see the verses, so you will see whenever it is required, I'll uphold a specific verse so that you can see from there. So it is again Maitreya Vacha, and Maitreya will close. So the dialogue of Maitreya Muni and Vidura will also come to a close by the end of this chapter. Okay. So okay. So then wait, where was I? Yeah, the couple of things which I want to like bring to your notice. See, as we know, because it's a Shankha Yoga, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also mentions here in Prabhupada hints that this chapter or this whole process of this Shankha Yoga, it is equally applicable for people who are pursuing Jnana Marg, Yoga Marg, and Bhakti. Of course, all three will get different results, but if the followers of these three paths, they take to Shankha Yoga, then like certainly they will become free from the idea of but what you get in the Jnana Marg, which is like it is just all about liberation, or Yoga Marg is all about only about Paramatma, but you can. So these are the kind of yoga systems which are many times used as bridge for bhakti. Those yogis who cannot directly take to another path, which is called Bhakti Yoga, sometimes they require this kind of what you can say, like transitional phases. So Shankha can be one of the transitional phases. Just like according to Padma Puran, Kriya Yoga, and Krishna uses the term Kriya Yoga many times in Bhagavad Gita. And it has got different meanings. But one of the meaning of Kriya Yoga is also the same kind of thing, which is like basically Bhakti Yoga, which with some elements of Ashtanga Yoga thrown into that. So that those persons who are conversant with Ashtanga Yoga can easily, seamlessly transfer their allegiance to Bhakti Yoga. So that happens. So now here you will see in the even in the first chapter here, first verse, I believe here it was there. Wait, yeah. Can you see the like the screen? The purport is there. What is it being shown? Yeah, purport. Yeah. So Jivan Mukti. So I'm pretty sure you must have encountered this term before. Jivan Mukta, Jivan Mukta or Jivan Mukti. What is your understanding of Jivan Mukta or Jivan Mukti? That's like, yeah, this is one of those terms.
Prabhuji, Jivan Mukta means liberated person in this body only, like Janak Maharaj or Dev Maharaj. They are living, but they are not attached with anything, and they are doing their duty as the cause of duty only.
Yeah, that's a very, very important aspect of Jivan Mukti you upholded, that they are liberated in the body and they are therefore not attached, and therefore whatever they are doing, the duty, it's only as a matter of duty they are doing. Yeah, that is one of the aspects of how you can recognize a Jivan Mukta. One of them. Okay. Other thoughts? What is a Jivan Mukta? Thoughts on that? What do you think is a Jivan Mukta? Yes, Rukmini Harisevani Maji, go ahead.
I just want to try. Like Prabhuji, there is a stage of like Brahm Bhuta stage. So in that stage, like a person, he has, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, I'm just sharing my understanding.
Yeah, that's all right. There's no rights and wrongs.
Yes. So the person knows his Swarupa and he's a liberated one. He knows everything, but still he is in this body. As what I could understand, like Srila Prabhupada also says that goal of life is not only to go to back home, back to what it is, to get Krishna Prema. There are so many devotees. We see the Srila Prabhupada disciples also, they are staying in this world, but they are the liberated ones. So that is a Jivan Mukta stage. So material misery, they don't touch them. It means that they don't repent for anything. The pain is there, they feel, but they have the pain is there, but that don't influence them, so they can continue their services like this. So they have Jivan Mukta, liberated.
You have more or less explained the position of Jivan Mukta. Okay, Priya Satya Mahamaji is also writing here. I am not looking for your senses but to please Krishna. That is very similar to what Amarendra Prabhu said. But what, okay, there is our Jagat Mata Sachi Mata might have to add something. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, until we are in this body, we have to follow the limitations of this body. But their consciousness is so liberated that they are in this world, they are following, they are doing everything that is related to the body, but they are not into it at the same times. Whatever the others doing, but they know that what they have to do, they don't have to do. They are very particular about it.
Yeah, I understand, Jagat Mahasaji. While you are trying to explain that part, you are also stuck because it is actually very difficult to explain in words that how come a person is Jivan Mukta, is in the body, and then you got stuck, but like, but they don't, because it is very difficult actually to explain that stage in words, because certain things are like more felt and more experienced. In that sense, the most complete understanding already was given by Rukmini Harisevani Maji, and you added that the feeling of the Jivan Mukta. Yes, so we all the devotees, at least the Bhakti Vaibhava devotees, must be very well conversant with the idea of Jivan Mukta. I'm pretty sure you must have also encountered that verse, ihar yasya hare dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilashu api avasthasu jivan muktasa uchyate. This is Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu by Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, where he is discussing this stage of Jivan Mukta, a stage generally not discussed so much in other sampradayas. Okay, that's why mostly in most religious systems around the world, including quote and unquote Hinduism, we can also be generally the Hinduism or other religious systems are decried, not defined, decried as fatalism. You heard of fatalism? Fatalism means, oh, ultimately everybody dies. And in order to achieve something, you have to die first. See, if you want to go to heaven, you have to die first. Okay, you have to go to hell, you have to die first. So anywhere you want to go, you have to die first. Okay, and generally the understanding of Vaishnava Sampradayas otherwise around is also the same. That if you want to go back to Godhead, you have to die first. You see, 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it mainly talks about this die first process. 8th chapter. Antakale cha mamema swaram takalevara. Okay, so it's like that. Always like you have to die first. You have to leave your body, and while you are leaving your body, you get to know your Swarupa, and then you are liberated. It is the special prerogative of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, as introduced by Rupa Goswami, this term, Jivan Mukti. You see, that's why Prabhupada is using the term Jivan Mukti in the purport. It is not in the verse. But the verse is like, it's like, like intertwined in such a way that you can figure out the concept of Jivan Mukti from the verse. Generally, you won't find like Bhagavatam verse which explicitly mention Jivan Mukta. You will only see Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Okay, but this is a special terminology, just like Achinta Bheda Bhed. You will not find Achinta Bheda Bhed as a terminology in any verse in Bhagavatam. But almost every verse of Bhagavatam can be explained in terms of Achinta Bheda Bhed. That's why it's Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva philosophy. Okay, so these are certain terms. This is a certain term, Jivan Mukta. You speak to a follower of Sadguru, he won't even understand what you're talking about. What is Jivan Mukti? He understands Mukti, that everybody understands. Any follower of Sanatana Dharma of any color, they understand what Mukti means. Bodhas, they understand what Nirvan means. Okay, they understand. But if you say the word Jivan Mukta, it's very difficult for them to understand, because it is not there. Because they are not, as Rukmini Harisavani Maji rightly pointed out, they are not after Swarupa. So until and unless your definition of Mukti includes Swarupa, which is what Bhagavatam says, 2.9. Okay, Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. When you are discussing that, this is like 2.10.1 onward verses, when it is discussing the 10 subjects of Bhagavatam. So there, I think it's 7th verse, I think, where it says, Mukti hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. That means anyatha rupam. All other forms of material designations, forms are hitva, they are dead. And swarupena vyavasthiti, you are rightly situated in your swarup. Okay, so that is called, that situation is not just mukti, but it is more specifically, it is Jivan Mukti. Because once you die, I leave the body, I mean, like either it is this way or that way. Either I am mukta or I am going to the next body. It is only Krishna consciousness, the Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding of Krishna consciousness, which ensures that you can ascertain the perfection while living in the body. Therefore, we are not fatalists. All over the world, all the religious systems, including the generic Hinduism also, is fatalist by nature. You have to die first. It's only Gaudiya Vaishnavism where you can ascertain that I may have got my Swarup Siddhi at the age of 50 and I continue to live for another 20-25 years. That's what it is. Okay? And we will see what happens when a person reaches Bhav and crosses the Bhav in this very chapter. The test case being Devahuti herself. Okay? So it is very prudent that Prabhupada at the very start brings in the topic of Jivan Mukti. Because the person who is progressing and crossing Bhav Bhakti, he knows he's alive. So that's a good starter, Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta concept must be understood. There are two ways Jiva attains liberation, means Swarupa, either through Videha Mukti, which is the process which is defined in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8. That is talking about the Videha Mukti process. That means when you are leaving your body, you are getting your Swarup, and that's it. And other than Bhagavatam, there are cases of Jivan Muktis. You are in the body, but you have already attained Prema. It's like you can see Prahlad Maharaj. He has attained Prema. He's still continuing. There is no liberation complete unless you are on the stage of Prema Bhakti, not even Bhav Bhakti. You don't stop nothing short of Prema Bhakti. Okay. That's why Prema Bhakti Jaha Huite Avidya Vinashya. The final Avidya is finished in the stage of Prema Bhakti. The residual effects of Vaishnava Aparadha, including, is dissolved in Prema Bhakti. Therefore, Prema Bhakti Jaha Huite Avidya Vinashya Jate. It's not Bhava Bhakti Jaha Huite Avidya Vinashya Jate. Although the target of sadhana bhakti is bhava, it's not prema. So by sadhana we target bhava, and bhava leads us to prema. So when it's in prema, then you are completely purified. Okay. All right, so now let's move on to the next verse. We had enough discussion on the Jivan Mukta thing. So, Devahuti being in the Vatsalya now is actually, this is not the conditioned mother in love of his son. She is like, blurting out these verses. It's not like that. So don't ever think like that Devahuti is speaking these verses because Kapil Muni happens to be his son. Although she is repeatedly addressing Kapil Muni as son. But that's how Yashoda addresses Krishna. That's how Devaki addresses Krishna. That's how Kaushalya addresses Ramchandra. Okay. So that is not because like she's of the bodily attachment, she is saying son. This is because the Vatsalya Ras devotees would address the Lord as son. So therefore, like Devahuti, she is saying that it's so difficult for me to understand that you are like teaching me, you are delivering me from the samsara. But what is most astonishing is that you took birth from me. Just like here it is saying, you can see the verse on the screen, that like Brahma is unborn. But here, but in this case, you are born from me. How is it possible that like Brahma is born from Vishnu, But Vishnu here is born from me. You see? You see? Still you put your body in the of a common woman like me. That to me is most astonishing. You see? So this is basically Vishwanath Chakravarti, like Prabhupada is paraphrasing Vishwanath Chakravarti. That's why he is astonished. So now, then of course, she gradually glorifies Kapil Muni, that how he is, yeah, here you can see, like, although you have virtually nothing to do. So the basic characteristics of God, the godly characteristics. Okay, she is mentioning the godly characteristics in verse number 3, specifically when she's saying Guna Pravahena. You see here, here this one. So Guna Pravahena Vibhakta Virya. So how is it happening that you give out your powers for maintenance, destruction, creation, all of this? Guna Pravahena, you Vibhakta, you divide them among the Guna avatars. You see? So, but yes, how to understand this? How am I to understand this? But I am understanding because I have heard from you. That's like even in Vedanta Sutra, when you find this things like Shabda Mulatvat, Shrutestu Shabda Mulatvat. So that means that is the baseline. That is the, the foundation of spiritual knowledge, that you hear it and you understand it. Shauta Prantha. So that's why she is saying, because had I not heard from you, see, you are my son Kapila, but had I not heard from you, I would have never understood who you are. Though you are born as my son, though I have seen you, like I have raised you as a child, but had I not heard from you, I would have never understood that the philosophy, and the speaker of the philosophy in this case is no one else than the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. I wouldn't have heard you, understood you, even if you stayed with me. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is coming. So now is a very juicy purport. The fourth verse. The fourth verse indeed is the fourth one. You understand the term 4, the importance of the number 4. Here it's like in Vedic terminology, the fourth one is called Turiya. Turiya. Turiya means the fourth one. The fourth one means above the 3 things, above the 3 gunas. The fourth one, the transcendental one. So that's why they say, generally the Mayavadis use that so much. Turiyananda Swami, things like that. We don't so much use it, but fourth. And this is also the 4th verse. And you will see the purport and the translation, at least the second line, you see. The answer, okay, because she's asking, oh Lord, how is it possible? That like you have the whole creation in your belly, and how come you come out of my belly? And now she is basically referring to the same example which I gave yesterday of Balakrishna or Vishnu in the Bal form, you see, the child form. The answer is that it is possible for the end of the millennium, you lie down on a leaf of a banyan tree. And just like a small boy, baby, you lick the toe of the lotus feet. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Okay, let's, I need a volunteer who can read from here. Therefore, Devahuti suggests. Should I increase the font size or what?
Therefore, devotee suggests here laying down within the abdomen of common woman like me is not so astonishing. You can lie down on the leaf of a banyan tree and float on the water of devastation as small baby. It is not very wonderful, therefore, that you can lie down in the abdomen of my body. You teach us that those who are very fond of children within this material world and who therefore enter into marriage to enjoy family life with children can also have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their child. And the most wonderful thing is that the Lord Himself licks His toe.
Hmm. Why does he lick his own toe?
According,
Why does he lick his own toe? Why he has to lick his own toe? So the second paragraph answers the verse. Another volunteer?
since
Another
all the
Since all sages and devotees apply all energy and all activities in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, there must be some transcendental pleasure in the toes of his lotus feet. The Lord licks his toe to taste the nectar for which the devotees always aspire. Sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself wonders how much transcendental pleasure is within himself, and in order to taste his own potency, he sometimes takes the position of tasting himself. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he appears as a devotee to taste the sweetness of the transcendental mellow in himself, which is tasted by Srimati Radharani, the greatest of all devotees.
You see? That's the purport of Prabhupada. That only a Gaudiya Vaishnava can give that purport. This is not the purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur or any Acharya. This second paragraph is through and through Srila Prabhupada. Connecting why Krishna is trying to taste his lotus feet. That means this idea of Krishna trying to understand his own, like who he is not new. But he didn't succeed unless and until he had the mercy of Radharani actually. Radha Bhava Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Chaitanyakam. So therefore, here we see that pastime where like nobody, no other sampradaya, every sampradaya knows this. Vatasya, that's like as they say in Vaibhava Sampradaya, Vatasya Patrasya Balu Mukunda. Yeah.
Kararavinde.
Jia Mataji. Go ahead.
ये वाली वर्ष न करारविंदे न पदारविंदे करारविंद
Yeah.
वतस्य पत्रस्य
Yeah. So that's everybody glorifies that. But everybody glorifies it as a Vatsalya mellow. Everybody understands this pastime, the Vatsalya mellow. In fact, even Devahuti is explaining it under the Vatsalya mellow. The mother is seeing the child doing this. And that's why Krishna as a child does that. Or Vishnu as a child in devastation does that. So that is for the Vatsalya Bhaktas. For the Vatsalya Bhaktas, it is that kind of interaction. But Prabhupada brings it forward and shows that even no matter how much Krishna sucks his toe, he doesn't understand it fully. As fully he understands it when he comes as Mahaprabhu to taste the Madhurya. That's where we ended yesterday. So every rasa has sweetness. Vatsalya has sweetness. But it's only in Madhurya he gets intoxicated by that sweetness. So that is the superior position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. Of course, all this comparison of superiority and inferiority, it's on the third party level, not inside the Leela. Inside the Leela, nobody compares to nobody. Okay. But anyway, this is what it is. So now we are, I think, almost there where we are ready for. Are we ready? Or maybe another verse. Yeah, just cover. Let us cover verse number 5, and then we will come to that. So verse number 5 is very brief. It's basically, it's just summarizing the in 5 verses. He, like Lord Kapila, is being summarized in that sense in this chapter. Okay. So you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen. Basically, paritrana sadhuna and vinishaya shidushtata kind of thing. Okay. So by your own will, you will assume incarnation as a boar, as other forms. Okay. So these things keep on happening. So because why is devotee saying that you will incarnate? Although in third canto, boar has already incarnated, right? So yes, so that's why that brings in the 2 kinds of boar incarnation. Rakta Varaha and Shweta Varaha. So this is what she is aiming as the Rakta Varaha incarnation. She is hinting that in future again you will come. Okay. So there are 2 incarnations of boar. The first one has been, very lucidly described in the third canto, and in subsequent cantos, briefly appearance of Varaha will happen, and in 1 or 2 verses, that will be the Rakta Varaha incarnation. So the basic idea of Kapil Muni is in order to distribute transcendental knowledge to your dependents. Okay. So it's just like dependence, that is the purpose, has been said. Okay. So it's basically the idea is to those 2, who are the dependents? The dependents are the Gyan Margis and the Bhaktas. So Kapil Muni has come for both, for the Gyan Margis also and for the devotees also. Of course, both will have their different destination, but that's what it is. Okay. And there's another thing. You see here, if you see this the verse here, yeah, here it says in 5th, yeah, Dehantaraha, Dehatantraha, Dehatantraha. Okay, so you can, one meaning is, as the synonyms is saying, this body, having assumed this body, but Vishwanath Chakravarti also says Deha Tantra means when your body is covered by clothes and ornaments. That means when Kapil Muni appeared, he appeared in a fully ornamented body, clothed and ornamented body like Lord Krishna. Kapil Muni didn't appear naked. Okay, so this Deha Tantra is the like hint that Kapil Muni also appeared like that, fully clothed. So anyway, so now comes that dandy time where we can have that group discussion. Okay, let me go back to the PDF, the handbook. So this is what it is. Okay. Glorious effects of chanting the holy name, 6 and 7. That's what it is. We will be discussing. Okay. So what are the glorious effects of chanting the holy name? Okay. Preaching application. Mainly preaching application. Okay. So are you all ready? How many are we today? Okay, we are 20. Okay, that's an easy one. Let's do again the 4 groups, and that's what we are going to discuss. Read both the purports of 6 and 7 and come up with whatever is described, I'm sorry. Okay. And come up with points that highlights the glories of the holy name. That's an easy question. Will it be difficult to remember? Okay. So I think I can shell out 20 minutes. Yeah, because like they're like reasonably healthy purports. So you will require 20 minutes to come up and discuss also. So let's have 20 minutes. Yeah, here we go. Antaryami Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
did you got the
No, Prabhuji, not yet.
you didn't?
No, Prabhuji, I've not been assigned yet.
How come? Antaryami Balaram. Yeah, it's not there. I don't see your name listed here.
Is it because I am the host, Prabhuji?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. You have to choose. You have to choose a group and get in.
Okay.
Okay. Get in.
Okay. Let me join.
Ankur Prabhu must be. Oh, Giriraj Prabhu. I'm assigning you to a group. Okay? Giriraj
Okay,
Prabhu,
Prabhu.
I'm
Hare
assigning you
Krishna.
to a group.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Group number 4.
Okay, Prabhuji. Actually, I'm down with viral, but I just wanted to hear the class, Prabhu.
Yeah. That's okay. That's a part of a discussion. The class is undergoing a discussion right now.
Okay.
Okay? Don't worry about it. It's, join other groups and see what's going on. कमलाक्षी माता जी, आपको किसी ग्रुप में डाल दूं? ग्रुप नंबर 3 में डाल दूं आपको? कमलाक्षी माता जी, आपको ग्रुप नंबर 3 में डाल रहा हूँ, वहां पर लोग कम है। Devotees are coming back. Seems to be. All right, so here we are. The clock struck 11 at Mayapur. Okay. So, all right, so 2 verses and 4 groups. Let's do this. Let's divide group number 1 and 4 to take up verse number 6, and group number 2 and 3 to take up verse number 7. Would that be fine in the interest of time? What do you think? Or you would like to do all 4 verses, all 2 verses, all 4 groups?
Prabhuji, your step is wonderful.
I don't know whether it's wonderful or not. So,
It is
but
because everybody might have done both. So when you are saying one will do 6 and the other will do 7, so that will be interesting.
all right, let it be so. I am taking it as a compliment.
Yes, Prabhuji, it will save time.
Okay.
There would be
So
no unnecessary
let's-
repetition.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So let's do the verse number 6 first. That means group number 1 and group number 4. Okay. We'll go chronologically. So group number 1 goes first.
Hare Krishna,
And group
Prabhuji.
number 4 has to ensure that it doesn't repeat what group number 1 has already, like, addressed. Yeah, go ahead. Group number 1. Who is
Yes,
there in group number 1?
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, what we understood, though we understood from both the verses, but still in verse number 6, the idea is what we understood as a group was Srila Prabhupada is focusing on offenseless chanting. So the point is, it is not about namaprad, the chanting, which what we understand is that, if somebody is chanting, but is not chanting with the intention to please the Lord, or is chanting with material desires in his or her mind, that maybe then maybe the below effects or the glories might not apply, because it's not pure name. So a couple of points that were mentioned the other group noticed was that even persons who are low class, or maybe a family of dog eaters, they even become eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. So it's a big thing to perform Vedic sacrifices. It's not an easy task. You have to go through so many processes, and then only it's a long list and a task and a milestone basically to have that. So it's very quickly achieved and attained by persons who are chanting offensively the name of the Lord. And another thing that we noted was they become free from the reactions of all sinful activities. So there are many sinful activities, but if you are chanting, so though that may not be the intention to get peace from the sinful activity, but that side effect that you get free from the reaction of all sinful activities. And also it is said that in the Srila Prabhupada was saying that you achieve the result of all purificatory processes. So there are so many purificatory processes, and there are so many results of it. So So these are the main points, Prabhuji, we have heard. I mean, we have noted down we have noted down other points also, but they are from the other purport. So we are holding
Alright.
on.
Okay, group number 4. Let's see who is in there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it also shows my name, but like consider me invisible.
Yes,
Okay, yes,
Prabhuji.
Ganga Shakti Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, this was the main point that Prabhuji already spoke about, that without going through the reformatory processes, one becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices by chanting the holy name. What we found also very interesting is that the sins are burnt, that we've already discussed, but also in the purport, Prabhupada says that as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he takes charge of one who surrenders. So one who's chanting is taken charge of by the Lord himself. So we don't, the way we understand it, and I don't know, I'm not sure, I may be wrong. What I understand is that although the karmic sequence or the karmic cycle is what takes charge of people's lives generally, but here when we surrender, when we chant, then Krishna takes charge of our life, and he decides what we have, what karmic balance we have to deal with at what time, so that it's beneficial for us in our spiritual life.
Precise.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Then it also mentions that anybody who chants becomes as respectable as a most learned Brahmin and can be allowed to perform Vedic sacrifices, so becomes as learned as a Brahmin. And then, and of course, we've heard that Vaishnava is better or higher than a Brahmin. And so the last line of the purport says that he then makes further progress to become a qualified Vaishnava, which means that the Brahminical qualification is already acquired. This is with respect to the process of initiation by the spiritual master.
Yes, hold that for future discussion.
Yes, so these are the points which were extracted.
That's a very important point. We will discuss that in like further. Okay, for the timing, let's move on to the 7th verse, and then we will take both of them, especially this point. Ganga Shakti Mataji enumerated. Yes, group room number 3. It has got Lakshmi Mataji, yeah, Priya Satyabhama Maji, Rashtraban Prabhu, all big guns. Okay, who fires first?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Lakshmi Mataji, go ahead.
Okay, Prabhu, the holy chanters, they don't need to go for the fire sacrifices because all the sacrifices are already done by chanting, and they have already traveled to the holy places for pilgrimage, and they are called Aryan because the Aryans are the civilized and the manners who regulate it according to the Vedic rituals, and they're also qualified to be a spiritual master. And yes, even the low bonds can be liberated from clutches of material entanglement by chanting. And there is the example of Haridas Thakur given, then being born in the family of Mohammedans, but Lord Chaitanya accepted him as a disciple, and like the chanter of the holy names does not need to perform any other Vedic rites. And,
quite close
yes,
to what that.
He's free from all
discussed.
sinful activities, and he's as good as Brahman as Mataji and Prabhuji has already spoken.
Yeah, it is quite close to what like it's already discussed in verse number 6. You only what you added in verse number 7 is like tepuste tapa, so that like all kind of austerities they have already performed, pilgrimages.
The words are given Prabhu, Juhu and Sasnu and Anuchu. These are the words, the terms given for.
I see. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Room number 2. What do you have to add to that? This is Jia Mataji.
Prabhuji, but if my group members want to add anything, so please do that. Whatever I know.
Okay, yeah, before, okay, fine. Before your term finishes,
Yes,
Other members,
Rasman
Priya
Prabhuji and Priya Satyabhama Mataji, if you want to add anything.
No, no, Prabhuji, no Mataji. Everything you have covered, and most of the points Antaryami Balram Prabhu and Ganga Shakti Mataji have covered.
Yes.
So it would be just repetition if I say something.
But verse number 7 is a little different, right? Anyway, room number 2. What do you have to add? Jagat Mata.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Rukmini Priya
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, it is mentioned in text 7. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord, which Antaryami Prabhu also explained. But if this pure mentality is there, then even though a person is born of a low family, such as a dog eaters, he is so glorious that not only has he purified himself, but he is quite competent to deliver others. This point is not mentioned by anyone, and he is competent to speak on the importance of the transcendental name also. And at the last, it is all also mentioned by Prabhupada that there are many Vedic statements in different places saying that anyone who chants the holy name of the Lord becomes immediately freed from conditional life, and that anyone who hears the holy name of the Lord, even though born of a family of dog eaters, also becomes liberated from the clutches of material entanglement. So these 2 points I want to mention. Lakshmi Mahesh Mataji also explained the example of Haridas Thakur, whom Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered to become the authority or acharya to spreading the holy name.
Yeah, exactly. Rather, I will take it from there. Like Prabhupada in one of his lectures, he's speaking, although he, as I said, he never gave any lecture on these 2 chapters, verses directly. But while he, like in other lectures, he mentions like these verses sometimes, and because this is one of the memory verses and one of the favorite verses of Prabhupada. These 2 verses, both of the verses, one of the favorite verses of Prabhupada, most used verses by Prabhupada. Why? Because we will see that whatever ISKCON is today, or whatever the principles on which Gaudiya Math was formed, it was largely based on these 2 verses. Otherwise, what are we doing? You know. So Prabhupada mentioned that because in those days, they would designate, or you see, I would say delineate Haridas Thakur. Which Haridas Thakur are you talking about? Because there are many Haridas Thakurs. There are many Haridas. Even if you go to Vrindavan, you find so many Haridas Thakurs. You know, it's like the person who the Haridas. That's why he's also said Haridas Babaji at least, so that you understand. Okay, the devotee who who helped manifest this Bhakti Bihari. Okay, so there were so many Haridas Thakurs, even here in Bengal. So therefore, they would delineate Haridas Thakur as Yavan Vaishnava. And then Prabhupada, like he criticizes that in one of his lectures, that no, that is not how you determine who is the original Haridas Thakur. You determine the original Haridas Thakur as Namacharya Haridas Thakur, not as Yavan Haridas Thakur. So that's what it is. That when you are seeing in terms of that caste, that is not how you do that. So yes. And Prabhupada then, like there in that very lecture, he's actually laughing and he's saying, while like I used to read this verse that like dog eaters. So I was in India, I never saw in my life what is a dog eater. It's only when Prabhupada said I started like preaching outside, I went to Philippines, I went to Korea, and I saw Chinese devotees, then I got to understand, oh, they're actually indeed dog eaters. So how come our Goswamis sitting within the precedents of India, they are writing about dog eaters? I have never seen dog eaters. So, like he said that when I went to these countries to preach, then I saw, okay, there are dog eaters, but those dog eaters also, They cannot. They can become Vaishnava. Of course, Prabhupada is then again humorously saying, of course, they cannot remain dog eater. Okay, so then you have to leave the dog eating thing, but then you can move ahead. So here is the subtlety, okay, that Jiva Goswami is pointing out. Basically, Prabhupada is quoting Jiva Goswami in that lecture. Prabhupada is saying this: the subtlety is, see, Janmana Jayate Shudra. Okay. At birth, everybody is a Shudra. It's not in for Kali Yuga. Many times devotees mix these two things together. Kalo Sudra Samabhava and Janmana Jayate Shudra. They generally quote it like back to back. And as a result of that, you cannot make the difference. But there is a vast difference between two verses, these two verses. Janmana Jayate Shudra is a verse which is applicable for all the yugas. Janmana Jayate, at least the three yugas. That means the Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. Satya you can exempt because Satya there will be Hamsas. But here in Dwapar, Treta, and Kali, Janmana Jayate Shudra, everybody is a Shudra by birth. Swan samskara dhi bhavet vija. That's the key. It's only with the samskaras they become dvija, twice born. That's why time and again we might think, what the heck, yaar, why are we so much discussing these things? Yes, because most of us have never undergone any samskara. So we don't care about samskara. So then that's why we don't even understand when they say reformatory process, purificatory process. What the hell is that? All we know is chant Hare Krishna. That's all we know. Yes, because we were born in Kali Yuga and we stayed in Kali Yuga like that. So that means what? When the child may be born a Shudra, and if you do the samskara, then he becomes a Dvija. Okay, just like we have got Manohar Dvij Prabhu. Okay. But what happens if you do not do the boy is born Shudra? Now you don't do any samskara for that boy. What happens to him? I mean, in this case, boy and girl both. I'm talking about the child. What will happen if you don't perform any samskara? If you perform samskara, then he becomes Dvija. He may become Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishnava, whatever. But if you don't perform any samskara,
he will remain Shudra.
No, he won't remain Shudra. That's the point. He won't remain Shudra. He will degrade. That's how we'll become Chandala. That's how we'll become Yavana, Mlecha, all of that. What does that mean? If the child is not reformed, given a reformatory process, samskara, so the Shudra will eat meat. That will become Yavana. He will drink also. He will become Mlecha. Then he might possibly eat dog also and become a Chandala. Getting my point? So a child is born a Shudra, doesn't stay a Shudra if you don't do samskara. That's why for the Shudra, there is one samskara. That is called the marriage samskara. No, none of the four sections of the Vedic society is without any samskara. Even Shudra, at least one. Okay, so that's what it is. That is the importance of this. We have to understand the system. How does it work? It works both ways. You do samskara, he elevates. Doesn't do, he degrades. Okay, so that person now we are talking about. So the Brahmana, he has got samskaras. Because of the samskara, he became Brahmana. But till the time the Brahmana has been taught the Vedas, and for that you need to give the Brahmana, whoever you are teaching the Vedas, at least the boys, you have to give them the Upaveda. Either it's a Brahmana, Vaishya, or Kshatriya, you have to give them Upavita. So when they have this, then they get the right to execute Yagya. Not before that. Not before that. It's not that you have got a Namkaran Samskara, you have got an Annaprashan Samskara, he is qualified for Yagya. No. Unless he has got the Upanayam, that means that he has gone to the school. The thread is given by the teacher in the school, in the Gurukul. That is the point. That was the system. He is coming to the school now. He must have an identity card. That's the identity card that he is a student. Okay, so then he is qualified to do yagyas. And here in this verse, now we come to the verse. The verse says that guy who is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he is directly qualified, has come to the stage where he can be given this thread. That's why Prabhupada said he doesn't need any other purificatory process. That means he doesn't need Jat Karma Sanskar, he doesn't need Annaprashana, he doesn't need Namkaran. You can straight away give him initiation, and that second initiation he gets, and he can also perform Yagya just like those other people. And that is precisely the reason why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave the thread. You will see, we will discuss that. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or commenting on the same verse, citing this, not commenting, citing the same verse, he says, this is the verse, and the commentary to this verse is given by Sanatana Goswami in his Digdashini Tika, and I'm following that. And that's why all of my disciples have got thread and Brahma Gayatri. So this is our history. Our entire state of being, how we are identified, is actually latched with these two verses. You take out these two verses, you take out the entire wind from the sails of Gaudiya Vaishnava, the ship of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, or the boat of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That these two verses are the wind of the sail of our Sampradaya. You take it out, you cannot defend it. Why you have second initiation, thread, Brahma Gayatri, all these things. And once you cannot defend that, then you cannot do any samskara also. Then for all the samskaras, including the Vivaha samskara, every samskara, you will have to bring these Karma Kandiya Pandits. You cannot do anything for your own, even Shraddha. Even after death, you cannot help your forefathers because they will say you are not qualified. Okay, so it's that serious. All right, initiated. So Prabhupada says, when the disciple has become competent and purified by chanting, the spiritual master offers him the sacred thread. That is the qualification. Yeah. Same kind of certain things, like Prabhupada's godbrother, B.R. Sridhar Maharaj. He is also, I found this quite relevant. That's why I'm bringing it in. He says, because when we're chanting, as all of us discussed, the sin is gone. Okay, the sinful reaction is gone. That means the prarabdha is gone. So when the prarabdha is gone, what happens? The stature of the person who doesn't have any prarabdha is like Indra. Indra doesn't have any prarabdha. You see? Similarly, the stature of the person who is chanting, and as a result of the chanting, sufficient chanting, the prarabdha is gone. So he's like Indra now. Okay, he says, no, not Indra, not Indra proper. He clarifies, lest somebody start thinking these are Indras roaming around. It's not Indra proper. But this is what it is. Because he says, he explains the terms Savanaya Kalpate. So Savanaya Kalpa also means, it means like Indra Kalpa. It's like Savana can also be used like he's as good as Indra. in terms of his stature now. Okay. So Jiva Goswami is also corroborating the same thing. So Kalpate means the little difference. So what is the difference? The difference is he has attained the stature of Indra, but still requires now the acceptance of the spiritual master. That means the second initiation, the Gayatri. Okay. So he has got the formally being initiated and accepted by the spiritual master, or vice versa, he has also accepted the spiritual master. So then he becomes like the person who can who is qualified for doing yagyas. And what is that yagya means here? The yagya also means here the yagya yajan also means yagya ejya. That means worship. That's why it's so important that a Vaishnava, second initiated devotee, there is no gender discrimination. Just like there is no discrimination of varna. You don't say, as I said, like you don't say a Brahmana, Vaishnava, Shudra, Vaishnava, Vaishnava, or like Kshatriya, Vaishnava. Similarly, you don't say a male Vaishnava or a female Vaishnava. And that's why everybody who is like second initiated after chanting the holy names of the Lord, they are qualified to perform yagya, they are qualified to perform worship. And it is only because in the environment we stay, which is largely like overwhelmingly the Hindu Karma Kandiya understanding, that's why like we don't see these things happening even within our society. Although during Prabhupada's times, Prabhupada encouraged it. And if you want to see, you can see that even in Bhagavatam here, and I can show you a very clear verse, very, very clear verse, which is basically just like Amarendra Prabhu was referring to 11th canto yesterday. So today it's my turn to refer to 11th canto. I will be also referring to the same 11th canto. So therefore, all of us to see what like it is said here, how much serious it is actually. I believe it is in the 27th chapter. Yeah. Yeah, this is 11th canto, 27th chapter, Lord Krishna's instruction on the process of deity worship. Okay. So the chapter is pretty much clear what it is all about. And who is instructing? There is no one else except but Lord Krishna himself directly to Uddhava. Okay. So it is just like Gita. So let's see. You see, Uddhava is asking, Krishna, please explain to me the prescribed method of worship in your deity form. Okay. What is the method? How do you do that? Okay. All the great sages say that this is the opinion of Narad Muni, Vyasdev, my own spiritual master Brihaspati. Okay. So what are we like? What is like how it is done? Now you see verse number 3 and 4. It doesn't have any purport. You see this. Okay, let me go to the Sanskrit. You see? Stri Shudranam cha manada. Shreyasham. Give me the Shreya, the topmost procedure. Uttamam manye. That is considered topmost. Striya Shudranam cha manada. So tell me that process. So here it is. Therefore, I consider worship of you in your deity form the most beneficial for all spiritual practices, even for women and Shudras. It is a direct verse from Bhagavatam. And after that, okay, fine, you may say, okay, Prabhu, okay, agreed, granted. It is the deity worship. We are seeing deity worship. So you see, Krishna is saying, okay, I shall explain the topic to you one step at a time. One step at a time. So he is telling us the process of deity worship one step at a time, and he is taking us to the one step at a time thing. It's going on and on and on and on and on. This is for you to read in your own time, the whole thing. And when you read the whole wonder of it, then you will find another wonderful thing. You will find this verse, and God knows what will you do then. Okay. Verse. Oh, yes. Yeah, here. So you will find this verse. The intelligent devotee should meditate upon that form of the Lord. Okay. And then what you do? The Srivatsa and everything he's wearing. Then he should perform the ritual of Aghara, presenting into the fire the waves of oblations. What? This was for the Stris and the Shudras. Now it says, reciting the basic mantras of each deity and the 16 line Purusha Shukta Hayam. That is the Purusha Shukta Yagya. Pouring one oblation after each line of Purusha Shukta. Anybody who worships Shaligram knows how the worship is done. 16 verses, Shodasha Upachar. And then worshipping sacrificial fire, obeisances, personal, going down, chant the Mula mantra. Then it doesn't end there. God, where is it taking me? He should present the deity with fragrant form, betel nuts, fruit, Vishwaksena. So this is exactly the yagya, what we see. So according to Bhagavatam, it doesn't discriminate between deity worship and yagya. It's one and the same thing. But these things are not discussed. Maybe it's too controversial, too hot. It's a hot potato. I understand it's a hot potato. So, but because it was part of the 6 and 7, so it's not that Gayatri mantras are just given to be murmured while you are feeling sleepy, and then you do all the 3 mantras at one go at night so that you don't miss them. It's not for that. It is for worshipping. It is for yagya. That makes you qualified for all of that, for real, not for namesake. So it is confirmed in Bhagavatam. It is being repeatedly cited by our 6 Goswamis, as I am repeatedly quoting Jiva Goswami. And I'm not quoting Jiva Goswami, actually it's Prabhupada quoting Jiva Goswami, Prabhupada's God brothers quoting Jiva Goswami, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur quoting Sanatana Goswami. So that's how this works. And yeah, so that's why it says basically Prarabdha Haratvam. When this verse, this 336, is cited in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami when he's talking about the Prarabdha. Remember, in your Bhakti Shastri, you read the Prarabdha, Aprarabdha, Kuta, Bija, Phala, all that. During that time, for the Prarabdha, he cites this verse. 1:21, he cites this verse. So that's for that first verse. And let's move on to the second verse. No, why should we move on? Let's have a break. And then we will go to the verse number 7, okay? So we meet at 11:45. We can do our Gayatri and things like that, okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Am I too early?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's supposed to be 11:45, no?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
I was under like 2 minutes, whether it is 12 or what. No, okay, 11:45. Okay, fine, fair enough. So we should be completing that. Because basically this chapter is all about these two verses, primarily. The other things also, but like these two verses are like really the cream of the cream. Okay, so then the 7th verse also, as like, because both of them were quite related. Yes, Manohar Desh Prabhu. Yeah. Go on. Sorry, I
Hare
also
Krishna,
saw.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So it was a really generic question that in a devotee's life, it might be really not related to these two verses, but in a devotee's life, how important is it to go into the platform of doing sacrifices or going into the platform of second initiation and having a Brahminic thread? Is it not sufficient to hold Harinam and doing the sadhana? How, in one, not in description, but in one line, how a devotee, how it's important for a devotee to go into this platform?
Well, since you have limited me by asking me to answer it in one sentence, so I will say, okay, I will use a long sentence. Okay. The sentence is that on the absolute platform, when we get Krishna Prema, nobody is going to ask you by following which limb of bhakti have you got it. Did you got it by chanting or worshipping the deity or staying in dham or associating with devotees or reading Bhagavatam or any of the 64 limbs of bhakti? When you have it, you have it. So it's absolute. Therefore, devotees, I'm concluding. Therefore, the devotees, they use all the methods at hand. And that's why we have got examples of Ambarish Maharaj, and even other, there is no devotee I know of who has not used almost all of the methods or most of the methods to be where they are. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So let's move ahead. So that's now the 7th verse. Again, this like Prabhupada is quoting in Bhagavad Gita. Even Kaviraj Goswami is quoting in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's not Prabhupada quoting in Chaitanya Charitamrita. No. It's Krishnadas Kaviraj directly quoting in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So these verses are like those verses. It's really, and Jiva Goswami also quoting, commenting on this verse. Jiva Goswami didn't give a commentary on this verse, but Jiva Goswami used this verse many of his works in the Shat Sandarbha, specifically in the Bhagavad Sandarbha. So then there he discusses this verse, and there he says that so far the Kirtan is concerned, it is performed in all ages, not just in the Kali Yuga. The only difference of Kirtan in Kali Yuga is that the Kali Yuga Kirtan is performed by Krishna himself. In all other ages, the devotees do the Kirtan, but in Kali Yuga, the people are so obstinate that Krishna has to come and perform his own Kirtan. Then the people takes to Kirtan. So that's the only difference of Kirtan in Kali Yuga. So if you say that Kirtan in Kali Yuga, you said, yeah. I know that in previous ages they used to do it, but in maybe it takes a Krishna to start the Kirtan. So that's the only difference. Anyway, so now when you read this verse and it says Tepu state of, okay, let me pull the verse out for you, and we will see. And we will see, as this is like part of the same Bhakti Vaibhava, where we talk about integrity. The verses like integrity is one of the 10 values of Bhakti Vaibhava. So here, you will check the academic integrity. Okay. We will check the academic integrity. Wait. Let's see how it can be used against Bhakti. Okay. How bataso pachogariyan yajivagar nam tubhyam. Tepus tapaste jivha sansor arya brahmana uchur nam granti yete. So here when it says that tepus tapa te jivha sansor arya, he has become an arya, he has already done all the tapasyas. Okay, he has already done. You see, it says personal chanting must have executed all kinds of austerity, fire sacrifice, all manners of the Aryans. So he has done that. And then he has also, by doing that, he has also sansu. Okay, so he has also done all the pilgrimages, bathing pilgrimages, all that thing, and studied the Vedas. So the question is, I can show the verse. Okay, here is the verse. And why do I need to read the Vedas, study Shastras? You see, why do I need to go to pilgrimages? Why do I need to visit Dham? Why do I need to study Shastras? We discussed the fire sacrifice and deity worship, but now we are discussing this. It's not that only deity worship is at risk, but if you turn the verse around, even reading, hearing is also at risk, and Dhammas is also at risk. Yes, Priyasatya Mamaji, go ahead. Your thoughts.
Ruji, the chanting needs to be pure here. You know, if you want to attain all of these things, you know, that it doesn't matter if you're in Dham or not, doesn't matter you're performing rituals or not, doesn't matter you're reading or not. You're so absorbed in chanting and it is so pure that these become, you know, as you said, byproducts. But
I didn't say byproducts.
I mean, somebody said.
Okay.
Somebody said. Maybe somebody said. So, but since you know, we are not on that level, I mean, you know, that it is so pure that we don't need the help of dhamvas or visiting pilgrims and reading shastras. So to progress in your spiritual life, all of this gives you a push, you know, to take easy steps. And you know, I mean, chanting becomes better, reading becomes, it goes, everything goes hand in hand. At least this is what my understanding is.
All right. You closed by somewhat trying to harmonize it. So otherwise, I like for others, I have got news. And the news is, if somebody is really good with chanting, he would be dying to stay in Dham. He would be dying to listen to Krishna Katha, reading Krishna Katha. He will die to worship the deity. He will die, like he will be dying to take a dip in the Yamuna or Ganga. He will be going crazy to try to find out the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees. He will go crazy for Krishna Prasadam. So the next time anybody tells you that since your chanting is not very good, therefore you require these things, you can tell them that there's another news. If your chanting is very dying for these things. Okay, it's not that when your chanting is good, you don't require these things. It's actually when you chant, your chanting is good, you start appreciating these things. You actually understand how what is the real value of this bhakti. These kind of statements are only made by devotees who have got no understanding of chanting actually. That's why they think, oh, since I cannot chant nicely enough, therefore all these things, make a khichdi out of it and it will be better. No, it's not khichdi. It's like, just like we have got Chappan Bhog, it has got like 56 preparation, it is 64 preparations. All the better. So
But
generally,
often, Prabhuji, isn't it? You know, I mean, I've heard in so many classes
yeah,
also
that's why I know
it
that you have
doesn't,
heard that.
you know, yeah, because if you're chanting properly, then whatever you have, everything is there. You
Yes,
don't
what do you have? That's the
the
question.
proper
Nobody asked the
name.
question.
Yeah, I mean, if you're chanting properly, then everywhere is Vrindavan, and you don't need to bother about other things. You have to, you have everything.
So then you won't bother about Vrindavan anymore?
I'm not saying that.
Getting my point? Getting my point?
Yeah.
So if you find everywhere Vrindavan, then why won't you find Vrindavan in Vrindavan? It's the same argument we find for those people who's like outside, who have no idea, iota of devotion in them. And they say, if God is everywhere, why do you need a deity? And our retort is, the God is everywhere, why is not in the deity? You see? And the same argument is coming from the back door. If your chanting is good enough, you don't need any Vrindavan because everywhere is Vrindavan. So why is Vrindavan not in Vrindavan? I said these kind of arguments is basically the same arguments coming from the neophytes, because they just cannot give up this idea, because the limited experience they have, that's how it comes back in a new avatar. Now let's not target the deity, let's target Vrindavan. They don't understand that there's no difference between Vrindavan and deity. The deity is incomplete without Vrindavan. The deity stands over Vrindavan. That's what we call the lotus. You cannot do anything without Vrindavan. The chanting is coming. The chanting is coming from Golok Vrindavan. Golokir Premadan Harinam Sankirtan without Vrindavan. That's what I said. These are the generally, that's what can I say? It's like I have to be maybe bold or outspoken to say this, that because the preaching has been largely overshadowed or hijacked by neophytes, that's why you hear these kind of statements. If our chanting is good enough, this is this. If our chanting is good enough, then like I have to follow what Rupa Goswami says, not what these people have to say. If our chanting is good enough, he says, then I must have millions of ears and millions of tongues. So then where come like this is equal to that, and then therefore I don't need anything. If this is equal to that, then I did more of that. So that's what I said. At the absolute platform, chanting is equal to hearing, is equal to worship, is equal to staying in Dham, is equal to Shravan, is equal to all the 64 limbs are equal to all the 64 limbs. Isn't that how Krishna works? Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti manti. Just the same way Bhakti Devi works, as Krishna works. All the limbs are equal to all the other limbs. In the beginning, some limbs may be more acute, but in the ultimate analysis, everything is equal to everything else, because that's what the meaning of sadhya is equal to sadhan. That is for the siddha. So chanting becomes better. It's not a chanting becomes better. Bhakti becomes better. There's another, that is the neophyte understanding. How to better your chanting. No, how to improve my bhakti. Chanting is a limb of bhakti. You see, it's like when people go they say how to make a good living. They don't say like how to get a better salary. No, how to make a living. As part of how to make a living, there may be better salary, better facilities, so many other things, whatever it is required. It is a limb. So that's why, like this is how it happens when we tear apart the limb of chanting away from bhakti and start to individually try to make it better. It's the same as Narad Muni says. Prano pahara cha yatendriyanam sarvata arharanam yatha achyuteja. How does it start? Yatha tarur manelena nishichanena tripyanti sangha bhujo shakha. That is the verse, 4th canto, 31st chapter, verse number something. That how do you nurture a tree? By watering the root, not watering the leaf or branch. The root, the tree of bhakti has got the main trunk of chanting, but it is still part of the tree. There is no procedure by which you can make the trunk go fatter and fatter, whereas the other limbs, which is the branches, the leaves, the fruits, the flowers, they have got nothing to drink. There's no such procedure. So when you improve your bhakti as a whole, not that, oh, I have just improved my chanting. Okay, so that's what it is. Chanting is the part of that, like the sword arm of that bhakti. But it is still part of bhakti. Okay. So I know this might sound what? Revolutionary, if not outright, what do you call that? Outright sacrilege, but at least it's revolutionary. Okay, but this is how it works. If you actually meet advanced devotees, actually, you won't see them talk like that. You won't see them talk like that. It's our misfortune that mostly we are surrounded by kind of devotees, and we being among them, one of them. So this is how it works. Anyway.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर हम एक का लिम्ब में अच्छे हैं तो इसका मतलब है दूसरे में अच्छे होंगे, अगर एक में नहीं है तो किसी में भी अच्छे नहीं है, मतलब हमारी चैंटिंग बेटर है तो।
अरे मोहतरमा, अगर आप प्रसाद पा रहे हो तो पूरे जिस्म में जा रहा है ना। ये किस तरह हो सकता है? ये हो सकता है। इसका दूसरा भी है। इसमें एक मुझे याद है, there was one devotee who was, पता नहीं किस आचार्य ने कोट किया था, and he said, हो सकता है। अगर आप देखो ये श्लोक जो है, जो मैंने अभी कोट किया नारद मुनि का, इसमें दो एनालॉजी इकट्ठे है। पहला एनालॉजी है इनका कि पेड़ में पानी डालो, जड़ में पानी डालो चला जाता। दूसरा एनालॉजी उसी के लाइन, अगली लाइन में श्लोक के अंदर ही दूसरा लाइन है, वो कह रहा है जैसे पेट में खाना डालो तो सारे पूरे जिस्म में जो है वो पहुंच जाता है, हर रग रग में जो है पहुंच जाता है। अब उसके बाद जो है आचार्य कमेंट्री में बता रहे हैं, आई हैव टू फाइंड आउट व्हिच एग्जैक्ट आचार्य, बिकॉज देयर आर 20 आचार्य कमेंट्रीज। सो वो कह रहे हैं कि पहला वाला एग्जांपल अपने आप में काफी था कि पेड़ के जड़ में पानी डालो तो पूरे पेड़ में पहुंच जाता है। फिर दोबारा उसी के अगले लाइन में नारद मुनि को ये मुंह में डाल के, यानी कि पेट के जो है मार्फत पूरे जिस्म में भिजवाने की क्या जरूरत थी? उन्होंने बोला कि एक फर्क है कि अगर आप खुराक जो है, पेट की खुराक मुंह में न डाल के आंखों में डालोगे तो आंखें अंधी हो जाएंगी, कानों में डालोगे बहरे हो जाएंगे। समझ आ रही है बात? यानी जिसकी जो खुराक है वो वहां जाएगी तब जाके वो असर करेगी। उल्टे सीधी जगह पे खुराक डालोगे तो आंखें अंधी और कान बहरे हो जाएंगे। तो यही है वो इशारा कि जब आप क्या कहते हैं, भक्ति देवी के जड़ों में पानी नहीं डाल रहे सारे अंगों से, ये उल्टा सीधा खींचातानी शुरू करोगे तो ऐसे अंधे बहरे। इसीलिए आपको फिर जो है न्योफाइट का मतलब होता क्या है? जो अंधा बहरा गूंगा लूला इस तरीके का हो, ऐसी भक्ति होती है ना न्यूफाइट्स की। किसी की भक्ति की टांग टूटी हुई है, कोई कन टूटा है, कोई कुछ है, इस वजह से, क्योंकि उसने भक्ति को ऐसे होल नहीं पकड़ा। वही अंधा है, जैसे वो हाथी पकड़ते हैं वैसे पकड़ लिया, जिसके हत्थे पूंछ आ गई, किसी के हत्थे कान आ गई, किसी के हत्थे पैर आ गया, वो उसी को घसीटे जा रहा है। तो ओम अज्ञान तिमिरांधस्य का मतलब ये, आंखें खोलो और भक्ति को पूरा देखो, और पूरे भक्ति को इस्तेमाल करोगे तो पूरा काम करेगा। अरे यार, ये किस तरह मुमकिन है मैं मतलब किसी को मिलूं और मैं बोलूं यार मैं आपके हाथ से बहुत मोहब्बत करता हूँ, ठीक है ना, या आपके नाखून बेहद पसंद है मुझे, तो वो बंदा पूछे यार क्या करूं, फिर नाखून मारूं तुम्हें? तो लाइक आप भगवान है तो आपको पूरे भगवान पसंद है, ये क्या बकवास है? तो उसी तरीके से भक्ति है तो पूरी भक्ति देवी पसंद है, ये क्या बकवास है? ये आर्गुमेंट ही बकवास है ना, कि जो फलानी चीज है। तो ये वहम है, ये सब एक्चुअली क्या है, सारा इम्पर्सनल है ना। आप जब भक्ति को देखते हो उसे बतौर शख्स नहीं देख रहे, उसे आप कोई मुर्दा चीज समझते हैं, जिसकी वजह से साधना एक चीज है हमारे लिए, जब जो है एक चीज है हमारे लिए। अगर वो किसी जिंदा शख्सियत का हिस्सा हो तो नजरिया और बतौर शख्स देखना, यही तो है हमारा पूरा जो फलसफा है, भगवान को, भक्ति को, भक्तों को, सबको बतौर शख्स देखना। तो ये पर्सनलिज्म का हिस्सा है, तो ये है। ठीक है जी माता जी,
यस प्रभु जी, थैंक यू सो मच।
बहुत बहुत
प्रभु जी,
अच्छा
एक
सवाल था। जी
एक
फरमाइए।
थोड़ा सा एज अ होल भक्ति को हम कैसे सर्व कर सकते हैं? इसी चीजों से करेंगे ना, ऐसे अंगों से, जैसे हमें चैंटिंग करनी है, रीडिंग करनी है, ये करना, तो एज अ
तो ये
होल
मालूम होना
मतलब
चाहिए कि उसके दूसरे हिस्से भी हैं, यही तो बात हो रही है। जब आप किसी, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल आपका जवाब सही है, कि जब हम किसी शख्स की, मान लीजिए कि हम किसी शख्स की सेवा करना चाह रहे हैं, तो मान लीजिए कि हम किसी की पैरों की मालिश कर रहे हैं, तो पूरे बंदे की मालिश हो रही है, पैरों की मालिश से पूरे बंदे को मालिश जा रही है, पैरों की मालिश जा रही है, सब जा रही है। तो उस वक्त ये काम ना करें कि दो बैठ गए दो पैरों में, एक एक टांग खींच रहा है, दूसरी दूसरी टांग खींच रहा है, ठीक है ना। ये कह रहा है चैंटिंग अव्वल है तो लिहाजा वो टांग खींच रहा है, दूसरा कहता है कि जी बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन अव्वल है, वो टांग खींच रहा है, तीसरा सर के पास चला गया है, वो कहता है कि डीटी वर्शिप अव्वल है, वो मुंडी खींच रहा है। वो यार भक्ति देवी तो यार दुखी हो जाएगी यार, मैं मतलब क्या पल्ले मेरे, क्या कौन मेरे पल्ले पड़ पीछे पड़ गए वाली बात। तो ये है, तो जब आप क्या कहते हैं किसी एक शख्स की सेवा कर रहे हैं, तो वो शख्स की सेवा तभी हो सकती है जब सभी के सभी जो है, जो उनकी सेवा कर रहे हैं, और सभी के सभी जो उनके जो क्या कहते हैं लिम्स हैं, उनकी सेवा तालमेल के साथ हो रही है। उनको जो है हर कोई अपने अपने, ठीक है ना, तो हर हिस्से की जरूरत है, इसीलिए ये दिया हुआ है ना। अरे भाई, मैं एक सादा सा सवाल आप सबसे पूछता हूँ, आपके मार्फत सबसे पूछ रहा हूँ, भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर को छोड़ के, ठीक है, भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की सिर्फ एक किताब हरिनाम चिंतामणि को छोड़ के, षट गोस्वामियों से लेके ये भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर तक, मुझे कोई दूसरी किताब का नाम बताया वो सिर्फ हरिनाम पे लिखी गई हो, सिर्फ हरिनाम पे लिखी गई हो। ये मेरा चैलेंज है 400 साल की हिस्ट्री में 10 जनरेशन आचार्यस, हम 15वीं नस्ल है, हमारे गुरु 14वीं नस्ल है, प्रभुपाद 13वीं नस्ल थे, ठीक है। तो ऐसे करके भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर पे जाएंगे तो 10वीं नस्ल है। तो पहली 10 नस्लों में से किसी के दिमाग में ये बात नहीं आई कि यार अगर हरिनाम इतना ही ज्यादा क्या कहते हैं उन मायनों में इंपॉर्टेंस है जिन मायनों में हम समझते हैं, तो सिर्फ एक्सक्लूसिवली एक किताब लिखते तो सिर्फ हरिनाम पर, और कोई उसमें किसी चीज का जिक्र नहीं है। Yes, Radha Keshav Prabhu, go ahead. राधा केशव प्रभु, आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Prabhuji, art of chanting.
हाँ, कौन है वो? ये कौन सी नस्ल है? 14वीं नस्ल है
ना, ये बुक लिखी थी.
मैं कह रहा हूँ ना, 14वीं नस्ल है. मैंने
Okay.
पहले 10 नस्ल की बात पूछी. मेरा सवाल ये था,
Yes, 14वीं
षड
नस्ल है.
गोस्वामी से लेके भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर तक, with the exception of हरिनाम चिंतामणि, tell me any acharya who has written only a book on Harinam, nothing else.
नहीं, मैं सोचा till today you are talking
हाँ
about.
ना, टुडे. और कंफ्यूजन भी तो तभी इतनी है, तब ये टुडे ही तो कंफ्यूजन है सारी. ये पहले 10 जनरेशन में कंफ्यूजन नहीं थी. कभी किसी ने भिड़ाया नहीं चैंटिंग को, क्या कहते हैं, भक्ति के दूसरा लिम्ब से. ये भिड़ाने वाला जो काम है, ये हमारी जो नस्लें आई हैं, ये वो नायाब नस्लें हैं जिन्होंने ये काम, ये मतलब कारनामा सरंजाम दिया है. So it's not like that. Bhakti means the whole package. Chanting means the crown. अरे सर ही नहीं होगा तो ताज कौन पहनेगा मेरे भाई? अगर आप चांटिंग को सरताज बनाना चाहते हैं तो उसके लिए सर तो चाहिए. तो इसीलिए द होल भक्ति देवी, हम इसमें कोई डिफरेंशिएशन नहीं करते इस तरीके से, खींचातानी करना. ठीक है ना? तो दैट्स द आइडिया ऑफ चैंटिंग. अभी तो मैंने अभी दिखाया ना, ये जैसे ये जो श्लोक मैंने सामने खोल के रखा तो हुआ है, इसी को चैंटिंग के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल, चैंटिंग को दूसरों के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल करने के लिए, कि जो चैंटिंग करता है वो हो गया, उसको क्या जरूरत है भगवान क्या कहते हैं, तीर्थों में स्नान करने की, वेदों का अध्ययन करने की. और पिछले वाला क्या कह रहा है? पिछले वालों ने बाकियों की धज्जियां उड़ा दी. ठीक है ना? ही इज एलिजिबल. बाकी सारी चीजों को किसी तरीके की प्योरिफिकेशन की जरूरत नहीं है. फिर इस श्लोक को आप दिखाओ और बोलो कि कोई वर्णाश्रम की जरूरत नहीं है, दीक्षा लो, ऐश करो. ठीक है ना? तो जब आपको श्लोक समझ आ रहा है तो उस वक्त हमारे भक्ति वैभव का ये एक, क्या कहते हैं, कॉर्नरस्टोन प्रिंसिपल है, एकेडमिक इंटीग्रिटी या शास्त्रिक इंटीग्रिटी. उसको इस तरीके से भी समझना कि श्लोक का गलत इस्तेमाल ना हो, और होता है तो कैसे हो सकता है और कैसे किया जाता है. मैं ये आपको कोई ये फर्जी बातें नहीं बता रहा हूं. ये सहजिया जो होते हैं उनका यही आर्गुमेंट होता है. हिंदुस्तान में तो ये जबान से दिया मैं कि आप यहाँ पे बोलो जी, क्या पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जगमुआ, पंडित भया न कोए, 2.5 अखर प्रेम का पढ़े सो पंडित होए. तो यार 2.5 अखर तो सारी बात है. ये पोथियां उसी के लिए लिखी हैं. Getting my point? So that is this, like trying to use the shastra to cut the. It's like जब when you cut down a tree, जब आप एक पेड़ को काटते हैं, एक क्या कहते हैं, कुल्हाड़े से काटते हैं, तो लकड़ी जो होती है जिससे वो कुल्हाड़ा बना होता है पकड़ने के लिए, वो कहाँ से आता है? वो उसी पेड़ से आता है. समझ आ रही है? उसी पेड़ की एक टहनी को काट के उसका लकड़ा कुल्हाड़ा में फेट करके फिर उससे पूरा पेड़ काटा जा सकता है. तो उसी तरीके से शास्त्र के एक श्लोक जो हैं, अगर आप इनको पूरे ठीक तरीके से, उसका जाबिया क्लियर नहीं होगा, एंगल ठीक नहीं होगा, तो आप उसी एक शास्त्र के श्लोक से दूसरे शास्त्र के सारे जो वो हैं उनको काट डालोगे. क्योंकि शास्त्र क्या है? वो बेसिकली शस्त्र जैसा है ना, वो हमारा ज्ञान काटने के लिए. तो वो 2 धारी तलवार है. शूरस्य धारा निशिता दुरात्य है. अगर आप उसको ठीक से पकड़ना नहीं सीखोगे तो वो आपकी खुद की भक्ति, आपकी खुद की कन्विक्शन उसी श्लोक को घुमा के काटा जा सकता है. ठीक है? इसीलिए भागवत गीता में भगवान कह रहे हैं ज्ञानासी बलम, यानी कि ये जो ज्ञान, ये जो तलवार है जिससे आप अपना ज्ञान काटेंगे. अब यहाँ पर वो ज्ञान जो है, जाहिर बात है अज्ञान काटने के लिए है, तो दैट इज बलराम. Prabhupada is writing that. Therefore, there is Krishna, there is Balram. Therefore, there is Krishna, there is Radharani. So all of them are connected. ठीक है? तो ये इसीलिए मैंने श्लोक दिखाया जानबूझ के कि इसको कैसे जो है घुमा के जो है आप दिखा सकते हो कि अरे क्या जरूरत है किताबें पढ़ने की, है हमारे हिंदुस्तान में। यहाँ बहुत है। और यहाँ एक तो साहब हमारे ही मंदिर से पहले हुआ करते थे, वो अब गुरु बन बैठे हैं, यहाँ दिल्ली वृंदावन में रहते हैं। वो तो कहते हैं भागवतम के जो कैरेक्टर्स है वो हमारे हीरो रोल मॉडल ही नहीं है, ये सारे तो वैकुंठ भक्त है, तो भागवतम से ऊपर चले गए हैं। क्यों? ये देखो इस तरह के श्लोक है। वो ये जनाब जो है पहले सबको 64 माला करवाते थे डंडे मार के। तो भक्ति को पूरी तरीके से समझे। Okay, we'll move ahead. We must move. We have got like some things to cover now. Okay. Manohar Dwesh Prabhu. Okay, go on. Let's see.
Very connected to your discussion. What you're trying to explain is there are primary and secondary limbs which we read as a complete bhakti, a package of complete. Yes, so we have to have a balance of all the things together, so that an obvious balance, right? Practically, whatever practical we can do, we have a balance of everything. So considering this, we have seen some role models from we have seen in the purport also Srila Haridas Thakur, who is keeping
Namacharya.
He's a Namacharya. So at the end, Mahaprabhu is also saying that you have already liberated because you have done chanting at that level. So how we can see this thing from this perspective, because if we see the balance he have keeping and propagating the chanting as a major limb. So that is.
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that in. I wanted somebody to bring this in. You fell in my trap. Okay, so when you see specifically to the case of Haridas Thakur or for anyone, because principle is universal, it cannot be like individual in nature. So when you see, because since you brought up especially that part of Haridas Thakur's journey when Mahaprabhu said that you don't need to chant anymore, and he was at the fag end of his life. And finally, he left his body. Okay. When he left his body, Chaitanya Chaitamrita says that he left his body by clinging onto the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seeing the the face of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And did you know what was he chanting?
Chaitanya. He was chanting his name.
Yes, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and he left his body. But can you explain that the person who was all through his life chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, how come while he was leaving his body he was chanting Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna? Why was not he chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Guess what? To make the matters more complicated, Prabhupada even didn't give any purport to that verse. Which means what? Which means that message itself is complete. It doesn't require any purport. That is the absolute state of chanting. So when you are able to remember Krishna, when you are having darshan of Krishna, does that remind you of the passing away of Bhishma Deva? You see? He sees Krishna in front of his eyes and then he leaves his body. He sees Krishna. That is darshan. That's the kirtan. That's darshan. And the verses which were chanted as Bhishma Stuti, that is Vandanam. What he is chanting, Haridas Thakur, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, that is again Nam Smaranam. That's why I said in that finality, the darshan is equal to chanting is equal to Vandanam is equal to Patsevnam. That is the beauty of that stage. So when we are not at that stage, we are trying to reach to that stage by all means. And that's why Narad Muni will say in 7th canto, when we will read the Bhakti Vedanta, we'll go to Bhakti Vedanta, we'll see. Narad Muni says, Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshat. And he is giving diametrically opposite examples. He is also giving the example on Shishuval and Kamsa, and he's also giving the example of Vrishnis and the Gopis. Now, it doesn't matter. You should be able to remember Krishna. He says that. And of course, then there is discrimination within those things, but it says that. And Rupa Goswami, following in the wake of Narad Muni, also composes a similar verse. He says, Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshaya. That's the Yena kena prakarena. What is the prakar? These prakars are there, 64. But when you come to that, nobody is going to ask you that question. And for the sadhaka stage, when we want to ask that thing, the so then, yeah. So you see, Haridas Thakur or any personality, say for example, Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur didn't got his head smashed. Sorry, Nityanand Prabhu saved. Nityanand Prabhu got his head smashed. And Haridas Thakur was with him. What were they doing? They were preaching. Had Haridas Thakur been sitting inside his cave and chanting, that would have never happened. House of Raghunath Das Goswami, his parents, and there he met Gopal Chakravarti, and he said the glories of holy name and this and that, and he said that if what you are saying is wrong, if I can prove it wrong, then I will cut off your chop off your nose. What happens? Within a day, that person gets leprosy. Gopal Chakravarti, he is not get up. What was he doing there? He was not chanting. He was preaching. Who was the person? Okay, how would Haridas Thakur? He was chanting, but sometimes he used to eat also. Sometimes he used to eat. So who would bring prasadam for him? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is another limb of bhakti. So he was doing Shravan, he was doing Kirtan, he was doing prasadam. So at least these ones were there, they are there. And he was doing parikrama. You see? So all of these things were there. नहीं मुझे आगे जाना है दिल पवनिमा जी मैं बहुत माफी चाहता हूँ मुझे आगे जाना है हम सबको आगे जाना है वैसे तो
thank you so much for wonderful explanation Prabhuji. It's a very wonderful explanation. Thank you so much.
आगे जाने दीजिए बस फिर मैं चलता हूँ अच्छा आपको मैं बताऊं इस वर्ड्स में अगर कंफ्यूजन हो रही है तो nobody is to be blamed for this because guess what Prabhupada was talking about this verse in one of his Gita lectures way back in 1966 May to the hippies even before he incorporated ISKCON. He's referring this verse to the hippies. There's no ISKCON then formally. He's just talking about that. Okay. Let's move ahead. So the kind of things you can even find it not just in if these are the things, if are the essence of bhakti, if these are the essence of bhakti, these verses are the essence of bhakti, then that must be also be reflected in Vedanta Sutra. They must also be reflected in Narad Bhakti Sutra. You see the essence of teachings of Narad Muni. If what he has taught his disciples, like these things, this is Maitreya speaking. So then through the parampara, it must have come. You can trace these things back. So you can see in Narad Bhakti Sutra, in the 4th chapter, 72 number verse, it says, I am reading, Nasti teshu jati rupa vidya rupa kula dhana Kriyadi bheda. Very easy to understand. Na asti. There is not. Teshu, in that. Jati. Everything is covered. Jati means varna, ashram, gender, everything is covered. Race. Okay. Vidya. Rupa. Kula. More specific. Kula. Dhana. Kriyadi. What profession he has. Varna. Bhedaha. It's no bhed. So, Mami Partha Vyapashita, Tepi Papa Shu Papa Yonaya. So, all those things. Anyway, so that person is worshipable, Garyan. That's why it says Garyan. You see here, here, worshipable, Garyan. Gariyasi. You see, word Gariya, it means like worshipable. Okay, so even like there are pastimes in Chaitanya Leela where there is this devotee Jhadu Thakur, and there is this another devotee Kalidas, who is the relative of Raghunath Das Goswami, who used to eat everybody's Mahaprasad. You must have heard this pastime, no? So like this Kalidas, he used to go everywhere, and even from wherever, like even his dustbin, he would take the Mahaprasad and he would eat. So when he went to Jhadu Thakur, and he asked for Mahaprasad, and he said, no, I cannot give you Mahaprasad. Why? And he said, like, I'm born in a Shudra family. He was a Bhangi. Jhadu Thakur, that was his name. So I said that. And then this Kalidas Prabhu, he quoted this verse. He was defeated and he had to give Mahaprasad. So these things are there. Anyway, so let's move ahead. Enough of we have done this verse, I think. Okay, where are we now? So let's do some reading. Here. Is the share screen? Okay, I need a volunteer to read for me. Any volunteer will do. From verse number 13 to 32. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Is it visible?
Yeah. Devahuti begins to practice yoga in Kardam Muni's ashram. Kardam Muni's ashram is so opulent that the denizens of heaven envy it. Devahuti gives up all comforts, however, was aggrieved at the separation from her son because he was the Lord. Engaging seriously in devotional service and accepting only necessities of the body, she becomes purified. Devahuti was prompted to Vaikuntha planet known as Kapil Vaikuntha to reside in the company of her transcendental son. The place where Devahuti achieves perfection is called Siddhapada. The material elements of her body melted into water and are now a flowing river. Anyone who bathes in that river also attains perfection.
Wait. Anybody remembers a similar pastime in the life of our Goswamis? I'm
Narottam Das Thakur.
Exactly. Narottam Das Thakur. Same. Body melted into water, now in a flowing river. You see? Same pastime you can see in the case of Narottam Das Thakur. So it's not like something like, doesn't have any precedence. It has precedence. Vice versa. Okay. So this now these verses are describing Devahuti's bhakti. Enough of sermonizing. Enough of sermonizing by Kapil Muni. Now you will see Devahuti in action. These verses. And it is like, cannot be stranger than this. That she is following bhakti, and you will see like 3 times a day she is bathing, and like she is becoming thin from austerities. First she became thin by austerities, but then because of the effect of bhakti, she started to glow. He started to glow. By the way, that river where she got melted was Saraswati. Okay, in case you want to ask what that river is, Saraswati. Okay. So then, but although the place where she is staying, Devavati is still staying at the house. Devavati has not left the house like Kardama or Kapila. And what was that house? That was a floating palace, isn't it? Yeah, so she was staying in the floating palace. There's hardly anything she is attached, like there's no attachment. It's impossible to see things like that when like Devavati, she has got even maidservants. But like she is Devavati. And now gradually we will come to that stage where we will discuss that thing. So at one place, it is also said that Devavati is also grieving the loss of his son. One should be asking the question, why she is not grieving the loss of his husband? That itself is the answer. She is not grieving for his son, she is grieving for Kapil Muni, who happens to be his son. You see, if the moment you think that she is grieving for Kapil Muni, that should be preceded by the question why she is not grieving for Kardam Muni first. And if you say that she is not grieving for Kardam Muni, that means she is unchaste. If somebody is unchaste, where is the question of grieving for Krishna? Chastity is the bedrock principle. If you want to love God, you should be like chaste towards God. If you don't have chastity, where is the question of love? No, because she is grieving for God. Kapil Muni, who happens to be son in Vatsalya. So that grieving of Devavati is in Vatsalya. That is the relationship she has with that. It is an eternal relationship. Prabhupada, in one small section, he writes it's Nitya Siddha. Okay. So now, if you see the result of from verse number, okay, we went up to, yeah. So verse number, okay, let me pull out that verse for you. Where are we? Oh, not 7, but we come somewhere around 21. Okay. Yeah, she was very aggrieved. You see, loss of her son. And not loss of her son, loss of Kapil Muni, who happens to be the son. Okay. So then, okay. Now you will see, this is what's happening. The progression of bhakti. See, this case is, on one hand, the person is Nitya Siddha. But on another hand, he is doing the sadhana. While he is doing the sadhana, he doesn't know that he is Nitya Siddha. That is what is called Yog Maya. The same circumstance, when Arjuna is bewildered and is asking those questions. What? Arjuna is not Siddha, he is Nitya Siddha. He's not even Siddha, he is not sadhana Siddha, he is Nitya Siddha. But he has been put into Yog Maya. And under Yog Maya, you will forget that you are Nitya Siddha. That means you are going to behave exactly as the sadhana Siddha behaves, aspiring for Siddhi. So when you see the struggle of Arjuna, you see here the struggle of Devahuti. That's exactly the struggle of the sadhana Siddha, of the sadhaka. It is not that the Nitya Siddha is acting it out. There is no role play going on over here. You have to understand that. Okay. Otherwise, you won't have any role models with you. You will see most of the characters in Bhagavatam, they are Nitya Siddhas. I am not Nitya Siddha. Where is the comparison? There is the comparison. He is a Nitya Siddha, but due to the influence of Krishna, he forgets that he is a Nitya Siddha. Just like Prahlad Maharaj. He is a Nitya Siddha. But by the influence of Yogamaya, he forgets, and that's why he does all the bhakti of Nrsimhadev. Like that. Okay. So here, that's why we see from these verses, like 22 onwards, you can see the progression of bhakti. So you see, always meditating upon her son. Okay. She soon became unattached to her nicely decorated home. She didn't leave the home, but became unattached. That means before that, there might have been some attachment. So now you see the chronology and you will understand. See? So this is this anasaktasya vishayan. This is happening. Okay. Then dhyayati. She is dhyaya. She is doing that. What is she doing? Having heard with eagerness all the details. She has heard all those details. That is part of the shushrushya, what you do from the guru. You know, like immediately translate in terms of sadhana. If she begins to meditate constantly, smartavya satatam Vishnu. You see? Smartavya satatam Vishnu. This is a sadhana. She is doing that sadhana of smartavya satatam Vishnu. Then 25-26. Because she was strong in renunciation, there is the role of renunciation. She accepted only the necessities of the body. You see? So you will find these things in between 11 to 20 items of bhakti in the 64 limbs. These are the don't things. Renunciation, only yavadartha. Yeah, that's what it is. Yavadartha vartita. Yavadartha vartita. Requiring only that what is required. That she is doing, practicing. It's all practice of sadhana you can see here. Then her heart became purified. Situated in knowledge due to realization, heart became purified. Now she is coming to the stage of heart became purified. That means what? Nishtha. Heart was contaminated because of anartha nivritti. So here you see she is crossing the stage of anartha nivritti and giving into nishtha, fully absorbed. Ruchi. You see? Here is Ruchi. You can see that. And all misgivings disappeared. So in the previous verse, it was not said that all misgivings disappeared. You see here, it's not there. She began. Here she began. And as a result of that beginning, now the Ruchi is coming. She became fully absorbed. Ruchi, fully absorbed. It is not said that she is mad about Krishna now. That would be asakti. Okay? It says fully absorbed. Now, completely engaged, realized knowledge, impersonal Brahma, Brahma realized, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. She has crossed the stage of Brahma Bhuta stage. She is freed from designations, you see. Na shochati, na kamshati. Materialist concept of life is based on two things. Shochati, kamshati. Okay, that is the materialistic life. So then it all, sorry, what did I do? So thus all pangs disappeared and she attained transcendental bliss. What do you understand by the term transcendental bliss now? In these terms, which stage possibly she reached? What do you think? You see, Prabhupada is quoting all that. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. You see? So, which you see? Anartha nivritti, all of these things Prabhupada is quoting now. Because you can see that. Those verses. So where is she now? Yes, Radhakrishna Rasipriya, somebody tried. Transcendental bliss. Where is she now?
Bhav stage.
There you are. There you are. And what is the telltale sign of Bhav? You read, Prabhuji. Radhakesha Prabhu, you read these two lines. You deserve it.
Situated
You
in
made
eternal
this.
trance and free. Sorry.
Yes,
Situated.
go on.
Yes, situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, impelled by the motives of material nature. She forgot her material body just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream.
This is the telltale sign of Bhava Bhakta. Just this much. You want to see a Bhava Bhakta? You want to identify who is a Bhava Bhakta? This is one of those. This is one of those telltale signs. You forget that you have a material body. What is the example of that? We can philosophically discuss that, just like here it is discussed. Prabhupada philosophically discussing it. This one. This is basically, he is basically paraphrasing Narottam Das Thakur. Deho smriti nahi jar, sanshar bandhan kahan tar. This is Narottam Das Thakur, basically, who Prabhupada is paraphrasing. But like, if you want to see an example, because unless and until you are shown an example, you don't understand. Forget his material body. So then you can see in the Shastras example like Rishabdev in that stage. He is lying in stool. He doesn't know. It is not that he loves lying in the stool. That is Tamogum. He doesn't know that there is stool. Because he doesn't, it doesn't happen 24 hours a day, but it happens for moments. Even highest example, there cannot be no higher than the most high. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When you see when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dancing and he's like, like he's jumping, and then he comes crashing down on the floor. You will never see a Sahajiya doing that. And I'm not talking about Sahajiyas outside of ISKCON. I'm talking about Sahajiyas inside and outside of ISKCON. You will see many devotees jumping into the crowd for the crowd surfing. When the kirtan is going on, and suddenly out of ecstasy, a devotee jumps into the crowd, and the crowd is moving hand, front, back. Just imagine Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur jumping into the crowd, and you're doing that. Would anybody dare do that? Would anybody dare do that in front of Prabhupada? Any Prabhupada disciple jumping and all the devotees taking from hand to hand, crowd surfing going on? No. It's because it is no holds barred these days. It's like a free for all. But when Mahaprabhu jumped, there was nobody to catch. Sometimes Nityananda Prabhu is the only person who will dare to catch him. That is the meaning of Pashane Kutibo Matha Olale Poshibo. They mean it. Why? Because they actually momentarily forget that they are in a body. That's why those out of body, they don't have out of body experiences, just like we have in the new age. They have out of body activities. Activities which cannot be performed, cannot be conceived by the body, because we care for the body. So here we see Devavati, that the symptoms of this is called Bhav. It's not cheap. Anybody has Bhav. Prabhuji, that Prabhuji was crying. This person was like, just like rolling on this and that. That itself, that is good, but it's not good enough for Bhav. Crying, romancha, kampa, ashu, momentarily coming, that it's good. It means that you are progressing. That is called Rati Abhas. That's not bhav. Okay. So bhav is preceded by these things, all the symptoms. That's why this I was like specifically covering this chronology of verses, which is required. Okay. So you see, body was being taken care by spiritual damsels created by her husband, as before. But like now the body did not become thin. See, previously you read the same thing. She became thin. Now she's not thin. How come? Yes, Bhava Bhakta. The body is being nurtured by bhakti. What? Bhakti is a sentiment, right? No. Bhakti is not a sentiment anymore. Bhakti is as much a tangible thing as this pen. That bhakti can now tushti, pushti, shuta. That is not a, that verse is not a, it's not an analogy. It happens. It happens. I know devotees who have seen such devotees. I won't name them here, but I know there are devotees here who have seen those devotees. And they have seen this condition. They are nurtured by bhakti. They hardly eat. They don't eat at all. So that's, you can understand the symptom of Bhava Bhakti. Okay. It's not that cheap. Or just because, like that it becomes a matter of prestige. Oh, my guru is Bhava Bhakta. My guru is Prema Bhakta. Then the third one comes, no, what Bhava Bhakta, Prema Bhakta nonsense. My guru is the Nitya Siddha Parshad of the such and such. I'm not talking about those people. That is not even up for a discussion here. So this is the real thing. Okay. That's why it says she appears just like a fire surrounded by smoke. That externally she might see, you might see her like dirty, but internally, no, fire covered by smoke. The only other example I can remember like this, when such a description has been given, is of Krishna himself. When Krishna is a little child, this is how Vyasa describes him. Shukdev describes him actually. That although he is a small child, he is as if a fire covered by smoke. Small child, but it's the cub of a lion. It's a lion cub. Is a fire. In the same verse it says. So that's how you become. You become godly, just like God. Na devo devam archayati. So without worshipping the Lord, you cannot become, in order to worship the Lord, you have to become like the Lord. So that's the stage, like you are now reaching, gradually you're reaching, and you can see these things going on. And another example of is Dattatreya. When Prasad means Dattatreya, how did he look? You will see in 7th canto. You will see Dattatreya was a very fat person. He was lying there, just like that, lying in filth. But Prasad could figure it out. He's not an ordinary person. He asked him a couple of questions. There he is. He's caught that this is a Mahabhagavad. So he was not thin. He was lying there like that. So, then it is like, this really becomes very, very difficult to examine a devotee in that stage. Okay. So here, you see, because she was always absorbed in the thought of personality, supreme personality of God. She was not aware that her hair was sometimes lewd and garment disarrayed. You see? It's the same thing when you see the reminded of the gopis. They're running for Krishna. They forget about their makeup and they forget about their garments. Okay, it's very difficult, especially being in woman body. It is very difficult to forget your makeup. You're always very careful because that's how the society is. These are the things that actually forgot, like self-forgetful body in the stage of different things. That's why I said this can be imitated. Some things can be imitated. Just like one can come to the temple like this. That is possible. But what I showed in the earlier verses, that is not possible. That's very difficult. To jump like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Kirtan and not being caught while coming down. So here now Maitreya is finishing. You see, he soon became liberated from material bondage, achieved Supreme Personality of Godhead without difficulty. Then she achieved Brahma Nirvana, you see, as Prabhupada is saying. So then she is achieving that Vaikuntha planet, which is called Siddha, what is that? Siddha Pada, not Siddha Loka, Siddha Pada. The Vaikuntha named Siddha Pada, where Lord Kapil stays as one of the, here, Siddha Pada, you see. This is the place where sacred spot. Okay, yeah. Lord Kapila stays there. Okay, so say with this we are almost at the end. You see, her elements, the body melted into water. Says the same. Okay. 33. Let's finish with the last section of reading. Last reading for the day. Only 3 or 4 verses. Here, verse number 33 to 37. Need a volunteer.
After leaving home, Lord Kapila headed for northeast. Celestial denizens, Munis and Apsaras offered him respects. The ocean offered him oblations and a place of residence still known as Ganga Sagar. Even now, Kapil Muni is staying there in trance for the deliverance of the conditioned souls in the 3 worlds, and all the acharyas or great teachers of the system of Shankhya philosophy are worshipping him. The description of the dealings of Kapila Dev and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears or reads this narration becomes a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and enters his abodes.
Okay. So yesterday when we were discussing about the Shrutifal, do's and don'ts, there were so many do's and don'ts. He should be told and I should not be told, all these things. But here, now there are no curtains. You see, there are no veils. So it is unveiled. That if you read the descriptions of Kapil and his mother, specifically this description, hears or reads this narration, becomes a devotee and enters his abode. You will become a devotee and you will enter his abode. So that's how, okay, let's go to that part and we will, oh sorry, I have to stop the sharing, go there. What am I doing? Yes. Here. See? No, where are we? Sorry. I came back to the same thing. That's it. 33, we read the 33 already. That Kapil, sorry, this is now Kapil going to the north side. See, northern direction. Okay. And then he finally reaches the ocean, Ganga Sagar. Okay. So like in January every year from Mayapur, there is a bus going to Ganga Sagar every year. People go to Ganga Sagar. Okay. So this Shankhya philosophy, Kapil Muni, and Prabhupada is actually very much now criticizing those people who in the name of Kapil is doing this atheistic Shankhya and all that. He's criticizing. Okay. You see, this is the purest of pure discourse. And the last verse says, the description of the dealings, anybody who hears or reads, both things. Okay, so becomes a devotee who is carried by Garuda. Specifically, you become a devotee of this Supreme Personality of Godhead who is carried by Garuda. Okay, thereafter enters into Supreme Lord, engages in tranquil service. So, yeah, this is actually a very important part which I have earmarked. Wait. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. Rather, I already covered that. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of first module of Bhakti Vaibhava. I never knew that I will be there with you for this auspicious, very auspicious moment. Finally, that auspicious moment when the first module has finished has arrived. And after some time, we will start with the second module. I am aware there might be a few devotees who were interested to join us in the second module. If anybody is in the know of such devotees who wants to join, who have already done the first module but are looking for to join a second module, we can accommodate them. We can accommodate such a devotee. If somebody is interested to join the second module, just tell them it's in English. And yeah, and we will be starting the second module with Atul Krishna Prabhu. Okay. So I take your leave. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And your examinations. Okay, now the teacher is gone. Now the administrator is back. Okay. So now the administrator is speaking. So your examinations will be on Dashera. That's at least some people will be having their holiday. Okay. So we will have the exams on Dashera. Rukmini Harisevani Maji? Yeah, she's back in time. Right? We are having on Dashera, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll be having it on Dashera. And your module 2 will start on time plan. So you plan your studies. I'll send the verses which you need to study for the CBA. Actually, I said that, but I also accidentally mixed the first module with that. So then Rukmini Harisevani Maji said, "Do you want to test them for the first module also?" I said, "No." So I'm sending in the second module. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All grace to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. All grace to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
So nice, so nice, so nice. Thank you.
Thank you.